Capitalism. I love late stage capitalism. Money. 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 Crime isn't good now. It's definitely not as good as it used to be. All right, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Amazon sucks right now. Uber sucks right now. Netflix sucks. Facebook sucks. Instagram sucks. Every big tech company is changing in front of our very eyes. And I know I usually try and see the bright side of tech, but for this video, I just want to be very brutally honest. I think most of these services we use are worse than you think. And I want people to do something about it. The first thing to understand is basically every big tech company follows the exact same pattern. Something that
money. They follow the pattern of money.
A guy called Cory Doctorow summarized really well with the term enshittification. See, when
wait, that's a term? Enshittification.
When any of these companies first starts, their only chance of succeeding is to go above and beyond for their users by solving a key problem. Let's take Uber, for example. Uber came in 2009, and I remember first using it around that time and thinking, this is the end for traditional taxis. This is far more convenient. The taxis find me instead of the other way around. The drivers are friendlier, the cars are cleaner, and it did all of that while being so much cheaper. I mean, Uber at the
first time I used an Uber is because the bus lines where I was looking in college, when I was in college, there was a day where there was a really big sports event and it clogged up the entire bus system network. And I had to get an Uber to drive home because the bus from my house that normally takes 45 minutes, it took 3 hours for my friend to get home who was living in the same area. And I was like, frick that, I'm gonna get an Uber. Granted, it did cost me a lot, but ultimately it didn't take me like 3 hours.
Start was 50%, sometimes 30% of the price of a traditional taxi. And so it's not surprising just how quickly people flooded onto Uber. I remember that within just about a year of it becoming operational, it went all the way from party trick to an essential app that everyone should have. But then
that is crazy. 30% of what it used to be. Now it costs like $200. Uber was great about 8 years ago. Yeah, again, they're trying to squeeze people for every ounce of money that they have. I remember when Uber Eats and, not Uber Eats, excuse me, DoorDash was really, really good.
What is the max we can charge versus how shit can we make the product before people get mad?
Well, I don't think Uber makes their product bad. It's that they upcharge you more for the product now. It used to be the other way around where it was like cheap and it was good. And now it's like, it's good, but it's really expensive. On top of inflation. Because they added a bunch of services on top of that. It's the same thing with Tinder and all those other things. It's like, yeah, Tinder sucks, but Tinder used to just have like a premium edition and that was it, you know? Now it's like platinum edition, diamond edition, gold standard edition. Yeah, yeah. It happens with game devs too. Yeah, absolutely. I think that happens as well. We used to not have that many microtransactions in video games, and now it's everywhere, and it's kind of like, it just happens.
Things changed. As soon as Uber felt like they had the user side of the market cornered, completely locked into the app, they switched focus to the other side, the drivers. Because the users aren't going anywhere at this point. And so if Uber can manage to control them and also the drivers, Uber the drivers are, and the drivers will have to stay where the users are. So they sweetened the deal for them. Uber started handing out sign-on bonuses for new joiners. They started giving cash back on fuel and discounts on car maintenance. They paid their drivers 80% of what the app made. And the best part of it was surge pricing.
Yeah, 80% isn't actually that bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
Anytime there was a pickup in demand, drivers could well earn 2 times, 3 times, sometimes more. I remember coming out of a music festival once thinking, I don't need to pre-book my car, Uber will sort me out. Only to realize that because I was coming out with crowds of other people, my only way to guarantee that I got an Uber was to outpay all of them with 5 times surge pricing. I paid £100 for a 15-minute cab ride.
Holy crap. But at least, again, that's why I paid mine, because I was stuck in the middle of town during a sports event. And I needed to get home. I had to go and work on a paper. I couldn't do it at school. Yeah, no, it happens. walk at that point? I don't know. Maybe he was blasted. I don't know. Maybe he couldn't find his way home.
But there is a third stage to this master plan.
Because what does Uber do when they have the users, when they know they're by far the most convenient way to hail a cab, and they have the suppliers, the ex-taxi drivers, the restaurant takeaway drivers, the package delivery drivers? Well, that is when true enshittification occurs. They gave users a surplus at the start to make their app essential, then shifted to giving suppliers that surplus to get them all on it, to build monopoly power and make it much harder to get a car outside of Uber.
There was no other Ubers. I think by 2016, there was nothing but Ubers. There were some other random ass apps, but they didn't really take off.
But this is the point where Uber, and every other big tech company in this position, will take all of that surplus for themselves. Because A, well, they can, but also B, because by the time a company reaches this stage, more than likely they are a public company, which means that the decisions aren't being made by one potentially passionate founder, but instead just many, many shareholders. And because shareholders aren't usually as invested in the long-term health of the business, they just want the business to earn quick money so that they can cash out, their objectives often boil down to, how do we make the users pay up until the absolute limit of what they're willing to, but just not past it? And then how
I just had it in my head. You already pay $15 for World of Warcraft and you have all this content. How do we squeeze more money out of them? Ah, yes, put a sparkly pony in the shop that everyone wants instead of achievements and all that stuff. Yeah, it is quite literally the mentality. Yeah, how do we squeeze more money out of them?
How do we pay the suppliers the absolute
tokens,
least that they're willing to take, but just not less than it? So this is what that enshittification looks like in practice. And it all starts with tiering, splitting the base service up into multiple tiers, all at different price points.
This is what I was talking about with the Tinder thing. Again, I only learned about this through another React video I did, where it was, I forget who it was. I think it was Internet Historian's friend talked about Tinder, and there's like bronze, silver, diamond, platinum, gold, and they're all like increasingly expensive, and they don't offer you anything else except like, I guess, like more access to other people's, like, you know, you can't view a certain amount of profiles unless you have like a platinum edition. Yeah, it's crazy.
And on the face of it, that sounds great. Like on Uber, for example, it means that you can now get priority if you want faster, comfort.
Yeah. Uber priority, comfort, like, oh my god, 24 pounds.
Which is newer cars with more legroom, exec, which is high-end cars with top-rated drivers, and then Lux, which is the very, very top end. Think about it. Now that
I've never seen that before, but I also haven't had an Uber probably in like 8 years.
They offer all of these options. What happens when you're just getting a normal Uber now? You get extremely long wait times because no driver who can charge exec prices is going to take a ride for normal prices.
I think because he lives in London, it's probably very common. I don't see that kind of thing where I live, or at least not that I have in the past or have heard of it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is more of a city center thing, but I totally believe it. I don't think this guy's lying.
You get all the drivers who don't qualify for high-rated service, and all the cars that don't count as new enough for comfort. And trust me when I say the requirements for comfort are not very high. This idea of splitting things up to offer more premium services is not inherently bad. It's just the way these companies achieve this is much less about making the experience better for the people who are paying more, but
squeezing more money out of them, of course. Yeah.
Much more about just making it worse for the people who aren't. Uber isn't changing the pool of cars on the road to accommodate these tiers. They're the same cars, the same people with the same training, but it's just now they're segregated in a way that each user pays the maximum they're willing to pay, and the service provided is the bare minimum for that price.
Or take Netflix. When Netflix first started, it felt revolutionary. I can pay £5.99 a month, which is cheaper than an average movie ticket nowadays, and get all of this ad-free?
But then Netflix introduced
Well, Netflix also used to send out literal videotapes and DVDs. Yeah, they evolved from not streaming to they were a CD sending thing. Yeah, they sent you things in the mail.
4K quality, which instead of just being added to the base service, became part of a separate tier, now being charged at £17.99 a month. Then
I mean, to be fair, who the hell needs 4K? I'm so used to watching everything at 1080, like 480p. Me, I do. I mean, I guess you are the minority, maybe. But I don't think it was very common for me to hear, oh, you need 4K. I spent $1,000 on my TV. Again, you are the luxury, you know? You are the luxury person. Not a lot of people do that, but at least I can understand that streaming 4K would be a little bit more expensive. I can kind of understand that.
They actually went as far as to introduce adverts back into your movies after the whole deal about this being the way to watch movies without adverts. And unless you upgrade to the middle subscription tier, which is £10.99, you're going to get those adverts. Netflix isn't even the worst offender, to be honest. At least
they never used to run ads when I watched Netflix. Granted, I did steal Netflix from a friend. Well, not steal, but like I used their account login and I watched stuff. I didn't have that. When did they introduce ads? It's a recent thing. Amazon, Disney also have this. Dude, I did not know that. That's crazy. No, they didn't. The ads are recent, like within a year. Oh, 6 months ago. Huh. Yeah, I did not know that.
their ad-supported tier is cheaper than the normal tier, whereas Now TV and Amazon Prime, they just stuck ads into the normal tier. The point is, tiering is not being used to benefit the user. It's being used to charge you more if you're willing to pay more.
And then you make more money off of them because you're pushing ads on them. And people don't realize that because you're not paying extra, you're getting milked for that money.
And give you the minimum acceptable experience if you're not. And that brings me on to subscriptions in general. Subscriptions on their own, they can be fine. They can be a way to make services more accessible instead of having to front load a big upfront cost. They can be a way to force companies to continue to provide value and updates over a period of time. But the way that these big tech companies are using subscriptions now has meant that we're often not paying those monthly subscriptions instead of the bigger upfront costs. We're paying them both. And you're actually getting a worse service now whilst paying for a subscription than you were originally for free.
Well, that's what blows my mind, is that Netflix used to have no ads, but then everyone's fine now. It reminds me of putting a frog into the water pot, and then you slowly raise the temperature so they don't realize they're boiling. That's the only analogy I can think of, because people, I would notice because I don't use Netflix that often, and now we're suddenly running ads. I'm like, that's weird. I would probably stop using Netflix.
Like Amazon, for example. The entire purpose of Amazon Prime was unlimited one-day deliveries. So why is it that now
they charge you extra for the one-day delivery? They used to not do that. Isn't that crazy?
We're also having to often pay to get the fastest delivery.
I turned off
and for many
sounds,
products, actually having to hit a minimum spend just to get that perk, which is how every online store has ever worked since the very beginning, but without needing to pay a monthly fee. Or for Uber, I regularly used to take Ubers to go see Drisha early on when we were dating. She was about 120 miles away, and it used to cost about £120. But over the last few years, I have seen that price not just creep, but soar up to 150, 200, 250, and now
Well, I mean, to be fair, gas costs more, food costs more. Everything went up. I get like $120 to $300 is like insane. That's like, holy shit, that's a lot of money, but damn. Yeah, but not that much. Yeah, exactly. They are milking them like really hot, like a lot. That's in America though. What is in America? Food and gas? No, everyone has increased price. These people are in the UK. Like, you see London, pounds? Yeah. Also, Britain left the UK. I don't know how that influenced it at all. No, everywhere has gas prices that went up. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. £300. Uber has gone from half the price of a normal taxi to, in a lot of cases, actually more expensive than just calling up your local cab company and pre-booking a car. And remember, that's for the lowest tier, which, because this tiering exists, means that you are specifically selecting a car that's at least 8 years old, with a driver who's completed less than 100 trips, or someone who just hasn't been able to keep a good rating. And you remember that surge pricing we talked about earlier? That still exists, but now you just don't see it. Instead of Uber telling you that you're about to pay 3
Oh, yeah. The surge pricing got removed.
times what you should be paying, it just does it. So that you start losing your reference point of what the journey even should cost.
Boiling a frog in cold water and then slowly building up the pressure. Yeah. Gas has not doubled in the last 8 years, so it almost tripled. No. I'm not arguing about that. I'm saying that everything has increased in price, but on top of that, they're kind of like squeezing your neck slowly to choke you out without you realizing that you're getting choked. Yeah, you have no reference point for like Uber having surge prices because they don't even do that system anymore.
And that is where the subscription service comes in to save the day. Uber One. I'm paying for it every single month because it gives you a 5% discount on your rides and free delivery on your Uber Eats food orders. I'll get to that one very soon because that is actually an even bigger problem in itself. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if Uber is just inventing the price, if Uber is just deciding how much it can charge you for this particular journey, as opposed to giving you an actual breakdown of why it costs what it costs, then a 5% discount on a made-up price, it doesn't actually mean it.
I'm pretty sure that's not allowed. I think Overwatch in Germany and Australia, the Overwatch, I know this is kind of like a different thing to compare it to, but Blizzard put skins in the store that cost $40, but then they discounted to $35. In Germany and Australia, you can't do that. You can't artificially decrease the price on something that has no like tangible value. Like it's fake. Fake discounts are illegal in most places, but not everywhere. Yeah, no, it's not illegal everywhere, but there are certain countries that that do not allow you to do that. I know in Germany, it's 100% a thing. I remember reading about it. You can't say there's a sale if you never were able to get the original retail pricing. Yeah, that's what Overwatch does. Yeah. It was incredibly common in Steam sales for a while before they cracked down on it. I had no idea that Steam did it as well. I'm confused why that's illegal. You can't put something out for the first time in a shop and say it's discounted by 30% from the original price. Does that make sense? It makes you think you're getting a deal, but it's not a deal at all. It's deceptive. It's like a psychological like manipulation thing because you're not getting a discount on something that never was released in the first place. You can discount something if it's been up for like a month and then say 20% off. Like that's perfectly fine. That's not illegal. That's cool. That's whatever. It's when you put it up for the very first time, like it's your first day putting up a game on Steam, for example, and then saying it's 18% off. A little, yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It's fine. Maybe people don't understand. I'm kind of bad at explaining, but that's why it's not good to do that. Alana, they're only giving the discount to the people with the subscription. But it's manipulating, though. You're manipulating people into thinking they're getting a discount. Yeah, no, you can't do that in certain countries. I know not every country has it that's illegal. I'm not comparing the two. I'm not saying this is the same thing. I'm saying that it is in the same vein. It gets worse. Okay, let's keep watching. Yeah, now they just hide it because it's like a baseline thing.
Far more than you used to just a few years ago for the same rides, and now you have a monthly expense as well that further ties you into using Uber and Uber only for all your driving and delivery needs. And if you're enjoying this...
Yeah. Because the tiering is what people have an issue with as well. Like on top of the surge pricing being hidden and this and that, like there's a lot of problems with this kind of thing.
Rather painful video, then a sub to the channel would be...
Yeah.
Ironic. Because we're asking you for a subscription.
Yeah, but it's free.
This one's free, and we do try very hard. So, anyway, if you're wondering why that Uber now costs £300, Well, it's not because the drivers have started earning more. The biggest way that companies like Uber and Amazon, once they become the default option, start to take all of that surplus away is simply by extracting the largest cut that they possibly can from every transaction.
Yeah.
Let's call this the platform fees. Let me show you Uber Eats for a minute. So I fancy some McDonald's chicken nuggets. McDonald's. Right, okay.
Oh, here we go,
So
here we
the
go,
first
here
thing
we
you'll
go.
notice is pricing. Almost every item of food on Uber Eats is between 10 and, no joke, 100% more expensive than it actually is in person.
Yes, I've seen this firsthand. I subscribed to DoorDash at one point during the subathon, and it's so weird because I was like, shouldn't I be getting a discount on this? But it's still the same freaking price. That's how they trick you as well. Again, it's not illegal, but it's not consumer friendly because I thought I was paying to get a discount, like to pay for the actual, you know, chicken nuggets being $6.99, right? But for some reason they cost in the store $4.99, and then like I'm paying a more of a price on the delivery as well. Yeah, like it's confusing. I know. You get a discount on the delivery fee, but the delivery fee isn't the actual cost of delivery. Yeah, it's not. It's all confusing and convoluted, made to confuse you.
Like 20 chicken nuggets, £6.99. That seems like an awful lot. But okay, add to basket. So then when we go into our basket, oh, look at that. Add £8.01 to save with Uber.
Yeah. DoorDash doesn't do this, I think, but like a lot of places do this.
One. So
Yeah.
again, notice, just like with Amazon Prime, Uber is trying to frame this as if I'm getting some sort of perk, when actually free delivery is something that I'm actively paying a monthly subscription just to get, and the app is denying that benefit until I hit a minimum spend, which, by the way, almost always means wastage. I mean, it's encouraging people to order more than they want to order. Besides, what can I order that's going to exactly hit £8.01? I'm going to have to go over. But anyway, let's go to the next page. Oh, people also ordered to really try and tempt me into getting those group savings. But no, resist. Next. Oh my goodness, would you look at that? Priority delivery, £2.49.
I saw this in DoorDash a couple of months ago. Like, I never DoorDash, like ever, essentially. I would rather go pick it up myself and just like pay nothing. It's so funny. I saw this whole like priority and then like standard being like 10 to 25. I'm like, what the frick? They used to never do this. It was just normal like pricing, and then like the food gets to you, and now you pay extra to like have them not take stops to get you your food. Like, what? I was like, what the frick? Huh?
And just to be very clear, priority delivery isn't some sort of hyper-accelerated, personalized service that would very much be worth that price. All it means is your driver doesn't take stops on the way to you. You know, exactly how every takeaway service ever used to work. And this is a great example of tiering. When Uber Eats first started, it was just an assumed thing that of course your driver is going to come straight to you to deliver your order. Up until normal restaurant takeaway service have been eliminated, and now, well, you want fast? You pay for fast. So okay, fine, we're gonna go priority. I don't want my food to be cold when it gets to me, and then you...
I remember I ordered, I think it was McDonald's or Wendy's. I ordered it one time to my house and I never ordered again, or at least for like at least a year, I think. It was freaking ice cold by the time it got to me, and then the guy was like, oh yeah, I know it took me a while because I had to make like 2 or 3 other stops. And I'm like, what the frick, man? There was times I'd order pizza and the pizza was still hot back in the day. Now it's like, oh, it's just normal for it to be cold. And I'm like, why did I pay you money then? Why would I order my pizza to be cold from the pizza place? Like, what?
You scroll down and, oh, priority delivery is actually being charged at £4.78, and that's because it's actually on top of an already existing base delivery fee. And then there's just fee. So if I click that, it says...
And that doesn't add up to the £8 that it costs for you to order your food. Like, it doesn't actually... You have to order £8 worth of food to get the free delivery, but then it doesn't add on to the priority delivery.
Bottom
It's
line,
so
it may
fricked.
be legal, but it is scummy and bad behavior. But these companies want money and they need to extract as much as possible because they don't pay good.
No, man. In some places, this is illegal. I forget what countries that have this kind of policy, or at least this kind of idea that is banned. You can't do that. FYI, that small order fee is a lot cheaper in the UK. In Canada, they charge $2 for a small order. What? Why?
Part of that is the small order fee for orders less than £10, because orders less than £10 should have an extra charge because they're going to cost more to be delivered. What? Because the priority delivery fee is my delivery fee. So why is there a separate delivery fee for the fact that my order is small? Do you see what I'm saying? And then there's the service fee. And this is what Uber wants you to think of as their cut. But the truth is, Uber is taking a slice out of every single part of this pie. Actually, I can show you. So McDonald's chicken nuggets price. Okay, so it's £4.49 on the McDonald's app, which basically means...
that's what I'm saying! I thought I was going crazy because I opened up my app one time and it was like $3.50 for chicken nuggets, and now on the DoorDash it was like $6.99. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah, like what?
Means that just for delivery, Uber is taking 70% of the value of the order. What a joke. And this is actually...
Yeah, and then I have to tip the DoorDasher. Like, what the frick?
What I find the most insulting part of it is the fact that we're paying a monthly subscription for Uber One, right? I've just paid extra for priority delivery, which says between 10 and 20 minutes. But when you click order, Uber will only get involved and even think about refunding you anything if the order actually takes 45 minutes or longer. Okay, so just to be very clear, your special guarantee just for me, because I'm one of your highest paying customers, is that my order will not take 2.5 times longer than the upper limit of what you just guaranteed it might. Oh, well, thank you very much, Uber One. It is mortifying how much they're exploiting the consumer.
Didn't Domino's or Pizza Hut or something say that if your pizza takes more than 15 minutes, it's free? Remember that? I don't know what the exact time was, but like it was like under 20 minutes and it's free. Under 30. Oh, okay, it was under 30. Yeah.
I mean, imagine what happens if companies like this get in charge of your medical and emergency services.
Amazon is just as bad. The other day, Drisha was buying a batch of mini little hampers for some gifts she was putting together. £12.99 is the absolute cheapest you could find them on Amazon. And just before we checked out, we thought, let's just do one little check elsewhere. And within a minute of browsing outside of Amazon, we found them for £4.
It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking, well, I've paid my delivery fee. That's what I'm paying.
Well, to be fair, with Amazon, it's like more the convenience of not having to go out. Sometimes I just don't want to, you know, deal with people and drive. I can kind of understand that, but that's still a massive scam. Like $11 freaking more.
Paying the subscription cost for. There's no way that this thing is going to be cheaper in another store that I'm not paying a monthly fee to have free delivery from. That's what they want you to think. But the truth is, Amazon is charging for Prime, Amazon is charging extra for delivery in some cases, Amazon is charging sellers to sell on the platform, and then they're charging you extra to buy on the platform. And you can even notice this effect with free platforms. Social media, for example, even though companies like Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, even YouTube, even though they're not directly charging you, will still absolutely find ways to maximize their earnings from you.
TikTok, I remember when I used to scroll TikTok, you never used to get ads and you'd only get them like once every 10 scrolls. Now it's every freaking 5 or 4 scrolls you get an ad now. To the point where it's hard to distinguish ads from like people, like actual people, like, you know, like TikTokers posting stuff.
Once they know that you're in. Once Facebook had got everyone to sign up for the first time by being this open haven where you come to keep connected with every single person you know and love, they became very aware that no individual person could just leave. That would be social suicide. So Facebook could crank that money-making lever as much as they wanted to.
They could fill it with ads. They could charge companies as much as they wanted to target those ads at you. They can curate your feed, taking the people you...
Wait, female silicone feet, 90% off Lama. What is this guy on? What kind of Facebook is this guy on when he's got feet? Man, this guy is telling us something, I think, huh?
you follow not as commands of what you want to see, but just suggestions. Suggestions that are quite quickly discarded as soon as Facebook realizes what they can show you to make more money out of you.
Now, where this all gets really deceptive
pizza.
is the dark patterns. Basically tricks that companies employ to make you do things that you didn't mean to do. Chicken nuggets are here. I'm actually fasting, so I can't eat them.
Oh, good for him.
So there you go, enjoy them. They were £13.75. Last year, actually, I signed up to using an app called Piccolo. It's just a social or drinking game where it serves you prompts on your phone and then you get those people to do those things. Like, hey Brian, from now on, you have to do the worm every single time you say something. Sorry, Brian. The game's got a 3-day free trial. Oh, great. But then it's £4.49 per...
Oh yes, Dark Tactics. Isn't that what Blizzard did with Diablo 4?
D for bad. D for bad. Per week? Yeah. $4.49 per week. So what is that a month? $4.50 a month? $4.50 times 4? That's a lot of money. That's
a week. £4.49 per week for a game that's
more
very
than a WoW
clearly been designed to
subscription.
be played once a month at most. And I would have happily bought it for £4.49 or even £10 if that's what they charged it as a one-off fee. You know, how it used to be before the subscription thing took over. But anyway, I went for the free trial. I played the game with my friends. We were drinking, so I didn't
and then you forget about it. I've done that before.
specifically remember to cancel it when I woke up the next day. And it took half a year when my accountant asked, what is this £4.49 every week going to Apple? When he mentioned it, I realized I had seen it a couple of times coming up on my accounts, but because it was just a payment to Apple, I assumed, oh, it must be iCloud or something. Negligent on my end? Yes, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I'm human. I forgot once, and my penalty for that, for playing one phone game for 2 hours one night, about £110.
Get scammed, man. Yeah, it's a little scam. Like, it's not directly a scam, but kind of.
There are plenty of subscription services I have
They
that I think
forgot
are
about
fair,
it.
but this is a very clear example of one that is predatory. One whose entire business model clearly revolves around charging an unfair price and hoping that people will forget. Another dark pattern that I see so much of nowadays is the manipulation of the default option. Like, I shop a lot on Amazon, right? And the reason for that is that even though I know they're often no longer the cheapest, is that they're basically the only company whose delivery infrastructure I can mostly rely on. The only company for who, when they say next day, it really does mean that it will come next day. This is the key problem that Amazon first solved for its users. It's what got us all so invested in the platform and what got me and millions of others to start paying monthly subscriptions to Prime. But now Amazon, as well as oftentimes introducing a minimum order quantity to get that free delivery, also often pre-selects the slower delivery option with, and I've looked into this, no way to
Yeah, they used to never do that, and now they do. You just don't notice it because you're so used to it.
stop it doing that. So let me just get this straight. You're charging me a monthly subscription for unlimited next day delivery, but then assuming that unless I specify otherwise, I'd rather get the slower delivery that I didn't have to pay for. And this is absolutely an example of a dark pattern, because we've had at least 3 or 4 occasions where we're about to film a video, and then we realize some of the stuff that we'd ordered for that video hasn't actually arrived. We go back and we realize it's because when checking out in a hurry, we didn't realize that Amazon didn't select the fastest option that was advertised to us as the delivery window on the product page.
The thing that they needed. Wait, butt acne clearing cream, back thigh acne. Why did he pick this of all things to show on the screen? Hold up. Pimples for bum, cream keep, buttocks skin smooth. Feed then butt. Yeah, this guy's a type, huh? I have to make it next day or else it does take like 3 to 5 days shipping. That shit pisses me off. Yeah, they trick you. Like you should pay attention more, huh, bucko?
Honestly, at this point, there is an intricate web of dark patterns these companies are using, and you'll absolutely have experienced some of them.
Like deliberately confusing website design, intended to fool or confuse the customer into not.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They do the same thing with customer service. Making it impossible to quit. Yeah, I've done that too. When you cancel a subscription to Final Fantasy XIV, you have to go through so many loops to to cancel it, it takes forever. I pointed that out one time, like 6 years ago when I canceled my subscription, because I could not find out how to cancel it because they don't make it obvious. And they do it on purpose. It's so scummy. I'm sure they still do it.
Not cancelling their subscription. For example, it's quite common to have multiple pages you have to go through to cancel, but then what some companies have started doing is flipping the continue and the back buttons between each page. So as you're trying to mash your mouse as quickly as possible to unsubscribe, you're actually being taken around and around the company's pages in a loop that you end up reading their entire spiel.
Or they send you just 10 different websites. Again, Final Fantasy did do that back in the day.
Aggressively offering you discounts, and only offering those discounts right before you decide you want to cancel, which always makes you realize how much you were overpaying in the first place. Encouraging you to pause your subscription so that it automatically resumes after a set period of time, as opposed to you being a functioning adult who can just cancel and then rejoin later if you decide you want to. And trying every single thing they can to guilt you with the fear of missing out, with things like continue your deactivation only if you are a boring person who never likes to have fun again.
There was a big study by Email Tool Tester who found that the average consumer encounters over 6 dark patterns when trying to cancel any subscription service nowadays. I mean, imagine talking to a person and they try to mislead you 6 times in the span of a few minutes. That's...
My gym membership was also like this. Yes! Oh my god! I had a gym membership for the gym that was next to my parents' house, and because I moved, obviously, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to go in there because they would not cancel me on the phone. Oh my god, I was so mad. I was like, why won't you cancel it? I remember walking in and I was like, hey, can you cancel it? I'm moving. I cannot come here anymore. And they're like, are you sure? Is there one that's nearby your new house? And I said, no, I don't have one. And they're like, where do you live? And I said, none of your damn business! I was so pissed. I was like, you don't need to know that. I'm telling you what I want. This is why I bought a freaking, what is it called? Gym equipment for my own house or my own apartment. I couldn't handle it anymore. You're such a piece of shit. Bro, my gym membership is a massive cancellation fee. If you're under contract, they auto-renew the contract. You have to cancel in person. Yes, that's what happened to me. I have to pay them $50. So granted, it wasn't a lot. $50 is kind of whatever for some people. But like, I've heard of horror stories of where they had to pay upwards of $300 to cancel it. But that's neither here nor there. But this is like what he's talking about with the whole dark tactics thing.
So bad that it's hard to wrap your head around. I actually experienced one of the worst examples of this just last week when I found myself with a little bit of spare time and I thought, I'd love to get just 1 month's worth of PlayStation Online play. That should be simple, right? So I opened up...
No, it's not. Microsoft does this too. You cannot cancel. You're never canceling your membership.
The purchase page for online and no, I don't want premium. No, I don't want extra. I just want to play online. But wait. There's no option to just buy 1 month. There used to be. Does it just assume now?
I've always suspected that companies heavily penalizes locations if anyone cancels their subscriptions. It's just a conspiracy theory, so don't take my word for it.
I have no idea. PlayStation only sells yearly now, if I recall correctly. Wait, what?
Lol, my friend had a gym membership from before COVID. They didn't know they were charging them for 2 years straight because they assumed it cancelled because the gym they went to was closed down.
I think that's on you. Your friend is stupid. Wait, no, that's on you, man. You can purchase monthly subs via cards at stores like gas stations and Best Buy still, I believe. Dude, now, no. Are you serious? You have to pay for a year's worth of PSN? Like, what? The gym was closed, though? Okay, but it's not their job to cancel it for you. If there's another location, then that's on you. Why would you not? I don't know. I feel like that's their own fault, but that's still kind of scummy that they didn't ask or, like, tell them anything.
That when I subscribe, I want to stay subscribed forever. But okay, fine. So I'll just buy the essential package and then I'll cancel straight away so that I don't get charged in any subsequent months. So I do that. But then, where's the cancel button? You'd think you'd be able to go to the same place you bought it from to cancel, but no. The only thing you can do on that page is to upgrade. The cancel is actually hidden in your console's settings.
Yeah, but this is why I thought the argument for people who... I remember I got a lot of backlash for saying that ad blockers are a lot of steps for people to like do ad blocking, because you have to like get involved and know what you're doing, or at least like, you know, try and work it out. If it doesn't work, then you have to like fight against the system to like get an ad blocker up and running. The more steps you put in front of a customer to like do something or cancel it or fix it, the less likely they are to like go through with it. People are so freaking stupid. And then they were arguing with me that I was wrong, and I'm like, well, actually, ad blocking is kind of a bit of effort, you know? Same with piracy. Like, you still have to put in a lot of effort to pirate. Yeah, every step is a form of resistance. If it's one button to cancel, people would do it straight up. It's not stupid, it's just lazy. Well, it's both. It's both, and it's also laziness. It's a mix. But for the most part, it's stupidity, I would say.
Imagine paying an internet subscription to use your internet on a game box.
Ash and the Shrek's box on. Actually.
Where in the settings? I spent so long looking, I gave up, and I actually had to Google to find that you have to go into users and
this guy is probably pretty tech savvy, let's be real.
My favorite quote is this: think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that.
That's right, I am half as stupid as I am.
accounts, then you go into account, then payment and subscriptions, then click PlayStation Plus. Okay, so then surely you just click cancel and you're good, right? Oh no, because then it asks you if you'd rather change your plan after I've specifically chosen to click the cancel button instead of the change button. Okay, so click cancel. Are you sure you're about to lose these benefits and more? Then when you confirm, yet another window asking you for your reasons before it will actually let you cut. But it's not even just about what any one company does in isolation. It's just
every company does that, to be fair. It's so annoying.
The fact that every big tech company is doing a subscription is in itself part of the problem. Because in most cases, the more subscription services there are,
hate to say it, but that's where PC superiority comes in. You're not needing to pay extra to play your video game online. What are you talking about? There are plenty of places where you have to pay to play video games. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, what? Huh? No, every place tries to charge you. Not every single one, but there are a lot. Yeah.
the worse each one gets, and the more that you end up having to pay just to be able to still do the things you want to do. See, you have a limited amount of time, right? Let's say you have enough spare time to watch 2 movies a week. In an era where subscribing to Netflix at its original £5.99 price lets you watch all the big blockbuster movies people were talking about, that's a cracking deal. You're basically paying 75p per movie. But then Disney Plus comes along and takes Disney-owned shows onto their own platform. Apple TV Plus comes along, Amazon Prime Video, Paramount Plus, Peacock.
Oh my god, I hate this so much. I remember when Netflix used to have everything, and then they ripped Netflix apart into all of these different fragmentations, and I stopped watching. I don't pay for TV. Yeah, but you pay enough for other things, unless you're like pirating and stuff. Yeah, I hate streaming services. I really do. I never use them. I used them back when a Game of Thrones was coming out, but even then I was sharing a password with someone else.
And every single one takes the rights for 1 or 2 of the big exclusive must-watch shows, and before you know it, you're paying like 6 different subscription services. Combine that with the tiering, which means that if you want the perks and the ad-free experience that you initially signed up for, along with that high quality, you'll be paying mostly between £10 and £20 per month to each one. Remember,
it's like cable. Do you guys remember when your parents used to pay like $100 a month for cable? And then you have all these shows and stuff, but half of them aren't even good. And then if you want the upgraded plan, you had to get extra channels. I remember my parents used to have to figure out what plans to like watch because they wanted certain channels. Like my dad, for example, he wanted ESPN, but you could only get ESPN if you got the sports exclusives and the other thing. You know, like you had to get like a mix and then like they'd upcharge you on that. It is quite literally the same thing, but for digital. Like for the streaming services. Pokemon literally has a streaming service guide like that. That is so bad. Yes, and then they'd have to buy an expansion because Cartoon Network wasn't on the base plan. Yeah. Or Nickelodeon or whatever else. My parents would... I remember when the Food Network came to cable, they had to pay extra for it.
Piracy is an issue of service, not price. This will always be the way.
Is that really what Gabe said? That's kind of based. The kick in the balls is that even if you have cable satellite with the channels you want, they still paywall content behind their streaming services. I don't remember that, but I could be misremembering. I was a child. Music is easy all on one platform for some reason. I don't think so. Spotify doesn't have everything. They have a lot, but not every single one. Yeah, maybe like they'll start fragmenting Spotify a lot. AMC has a cable channel, but also some stuff was only the streaming service. Same with HBO and Paramount. Yeah, I hate it so much.
Your time hasn't increased. The amount of content you consume hasn't changed. You're just paying movie rent to more different companies and using each service much less, amounting to £11 per movie you watch now, which is about what you would have paid for a DVD in the first place.
Yeah, I remember actually buying DVDs. It has the majority, can't say that about Netflix, but Netflix used to! That's the problem! They're going to fragment everything eventually. It sucks. Netflix used to be the vast majority holder of all these shows, and then when they started seeing how much money Netflix was making, they started ripping Netflix apart. Yeah. I know I literally pay $500 a year, not kidding. Oh my god, you pay $500 a year for streaming services? I'm sorry. That's so much!
It feels like we've looped all the way around and now we're back in the same place we were. Except now, you don't own anything. And services like Netflix are constantly culling their libraries just to keep their costs down. I was counting up the number of my own paid subscriptions I had a few days ago while planning out this video, and it's only when I totted it all up that I realized just how ridiculous it's become.
And then you have to juggle different, like if you finished watching a show, you have to cancel the sub, but then it also has to keep running. And then God forbid, you have to finish watching a show before the subscription overlaps into the other one, before the subscription ticks over so that you don't have to pay another month extra for something that you aren't going to use. It's stressful. It's annoying. I totally get it.
Just for work, I subscribe to Epidemic Sound, Slack, Trello, the entire Adobe Creative Suite, Frame.io, Surfshark, Twitter Blue, Google Drive, Uber One, a whole load of different plugins. And then personally, Netflix, Spotify, Vodafone, Tidal, Apple TV+, Apple iCloud, Amazon Prime, YouTube Premium, Deliveroo Plus, PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live, Nintendo Switch Online. Oh my god. So the total I spend on subscriptions in a month is $1,200.
So my dad had a friend who was a lawyer who used Netflix and copy every DVD he got and sent them back ASAP, so he had a huge movie library. This was Netflix before streaming.
Yeah, now you can't do that because Netflix doesn't send out copies anymore and you don't own anything. 1,000 in streaming services? No, he included Adobe. I think Adobe Premiere Suite costs like $500, like $300 or $500. Yeah, Adobe costs like an obscene amount of money to like use. Yeah, he included his phone bill too as well, I think. Vodafone is a phone service. I used to pirate Photoshop back in the day when I was a little kid. Yo, Yindigo, thank you for the 3 buds. Paula Doobie says like $200 for a month for business. That's still a lot.
Per month. Oh my god.
That's a lot.
Now, the truth is, subscriptions and the dark patterns that often come with them, they're not going anywhere. It's not surprising that every single company wants them. They give predictable, regular revenue, which is basically the holy grail for businesses. I mean, it's a lot more encouraging to say to investors, we have 1,000 users and you can expect 950 of them to pay again next month, than to say 1,000 people bought our product, we'll try and get more next time. It's way easier to get people in with a cheap subscription and then
forgetting about it too. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who subbed to me back when I played DBD and then they forgot about me and then they just have this like ticking reoccurring subscription that they never check. I'm pretty sure that happens.
Sell them later on with add-ons and more expensive tiers, as opposed to having to go all in with the big upfront hard sell on a big purchase. And also, subscriptions create lock-in. So the people who are subscribed, they're not just paying you for the subscription, but they're also likely to keep paying you more while trying to make the most out of that subscription. And then finally, lots and lots of money. I mean, here's what a company's revenue looks like if they sell 100 products each month for £10, and here's what that same company's revenue looks like if they sell 100 subscriptions for £2 a month.
Yeah. It goes up more. It starts off shittier, but there is an overlap. It's exponential. This one is more linear.
Takes the individual purchases very quickly, and it just keeps accelerating. So, what do we do about it? Well, just me to you, what I would do is when you sign up to a subscription that you know you only want to use for a month, just cancel it straight away. You'll get that first month and you can make sure it's nothing past that. If you're stuck subscribing to every single one of the TV services because you don't want to miss out and you do want to watch them all, you could just try rotating. Subscribing to one at a time, binging the thing that you most want to watch on that one for 1 month, and then moving on to the next. But then part of it also has to be policy. We should be pushing for governments to enforce smoother switching between platforms, like still being able to contact your Facebook friends without having to be an active Facebook user, and focusing on making...
I think that's a double-edged sword. And also... What did he say again? Having to... If you make policies like that, it can kind of like... It can really lead to other problems. The companies control the government? No, they selectively control it. It's called lobbying. I want the government to solve my problems for me. Well, we are the product that they want to sell to us. Like, they are selling a product to us, but we are also a product to them. Some things do need government intervention. I don't think this is one of them. I don't think the government can solve this problem. I think that I think we are part of the problem. We're just unaware of what's going on.
Making platforms continue to deliver on their initial promises beyond that initial honeymoon phase. So a social media platform, for example, should first show you what you signed up to see, as opposed to what will drive the most retention. Amazon should first show you the product it genuinely thinks is best matched to your search, as opposed to who's paid the most to advertise. And Google Search should first show you the reviews that it thinks best answer your questions, as opposed to just assuming that Google's own reviews should always be on top. And then also just keeping the consumer in mind when it comes to companies fragmenting.
But if you give the consumers as much information as possible, you make less money, which is bad for them, which is why they don't do it in the first place. It sucks.
A lot of attention is given to when companies get too big, and rightly so, that's a big issue, but it's also bad for the consumer, especially in this subscription era when they get split up in ways that make each one a worse proposition in their own right. Now, one of the few subscriptions that I have that I genuinely think flies in the face of most of this is Surfshark VPN, for a few reasons. It actually fixes the mess created by some other subscription services like Netflix, who don't buy the licenses to all their shows in all the countries, so every country has a different library, which this lets you access by just flicking your location. It doesn't have any of those weird catches like this subscription only works for people so long as they stay in the same household. No, this subscription works for you and every single person you know. They didn't price themselves at $20 or $15 or $10. It's less than $3 a month when you use the code BOSS, with 3 months for free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And most importantly, instead of identifying themselves, Surfshark has actually gotten better. I've been using it for years now, and the app has got cleaner. There are no ads baked in. There's been no price creep, and the number of features included for this one price, it keeps going up, not down. Big thanks to Cory Doctorow, by the way. I've been reading a lot of his stuff while planning out this video, and I'll pop his main articles below if you want to have a read. Catch you in the next one.
Well, that was a good video. It just reminded me why I hate business companies, like big business. Clampters chat, clamp.